Yo guys, what's going on? Lucky Cheese 7 is back again to give you guys a live stream discussion on Eden Zero chapters 201 and 202, the latest chapter. Now, I won't touch on 201 that much, considering that the chapter did come out last week, but there were some points that did kind of jump out at me. Namely, that when you're looking at 201, it was mainly a struggle, like a decision as to like, okay, what was gonna happen. Um, a lot of it was based on, like everyone's mothers, like Hamora's mother, like Wise, and then Rebecca was the big one in chapter 201. Specifically that, because she says right over here, in my first memories, I was already gone on Blue Garden. I don't remember anything about my parents. Did they abandon me or leave me as an orphan? Or was I kidnapped? I never knew. And as I got older, sorry to cut that off. As I got older, I decided not to think about it. But suddenly she's right here in front of me. And she's the archbishop of some church. Honestly, it makes no sense to me. Still, she's alive. Yes, there are life readings from her, is what Pino says. And Weiss was the one that commented on her still being alive. But this is the thing. Hamor gets it straight to Rebecca that, hey, we got to do this. But we can't just sit here and waver on what needs to be done. We still got to enact Operation Planet Eater. And you can see just how much Rebecca struggled with this. Like, there's so many people in here. I don't know if I could do it. But Happy does tell her, granted with a little bit of uncertainty, that, but I think they're all dead. And, as she's gripping her fist, Rebecca says, Wise and Hamora's mother, and Jin and Clean too. Yeah, if we could, I'd like to take her back and bury her on Norma's soil, is what Wise says. And then Hamora says, then let us at least recover our own mothers. It will it will not be possible to collect them all. And again, you're seeing just not how distraught Rebecca is, but just the tension that she's feeling right now with Pino saying, "Let's rescue Miss Rebecca's mom first." Wait, I'm not ready for this. And again, Homura right there front and center says, "We haven't the time to dawdle or to twaddle. Yeah, our friends are in the midst of battle." And all it takes is just that one thing, that one little thing. And Rebecca's like, all right, but we don't have to wake her up right this instant. We'll use Warrior Maid 95 to recover as many as we can and take them on to the Eden Zero. I can hear what my mother has to say after the battle. More nods. Why says yeah. Happy nods too. As soon as we're all ready, I'll begin Operation Planet Eater. Very confidently, beautiful panel by the way. And as it's going down, we see the battle still in tune between the Eden Zero ship and Deadend Crow. And then Hermit shows back up. Sorry to keep you waiting. And then Connor, ye disposed of intruders, I assume. One self-destructed and the other is immobilized. We have him in a holding cell. A cell? Are ye sure that be safe? His motive power cores are shut down. Don't worry, Sister's dealing with him. We need to interrogate him about Ziggy. And she's obviously referring to Clown because, well, Killer is, well, gone, given his whole situation right there. How are things here? Is what she asks Clean. The little guys surrounding him. We got almost all of them. And then Jin. All that's left is Deadend Crow. Like, we are, like, literally now in midst of, like, the final confrontation. Connor. We'll be firing the Eden Zero's main cannon at him, while Holy distracts him with her night gear. Clean says the cannon's charge it's at 70%. Frankly, I think 70 should be enough to blow him out to smithereens. That's what Hermit says. And Laguna says no. If we don't go all in, we'll be putting ourselves in more danger. When I fought him, I learned something. He absorbs energy, not only physical ammunition. Well, actually, no. So only physical ammunition will work. No, physical rounds are basically pointless. His armor is too hard. The Eden's main cannon, Starbringer, it fires super high density, pressurized ether. In other words, it fires energy rounds, which means we don't even know if it'll work at max power. And that's what Herbert says. And that's the second she says that, Holy pops up. It will work. According to my calculations, if we fire the Eden Zero's main cannon at his core, we will destroy it. His core? And it's my job to uncover it for you. She's doing that. She gets her spear ready. Lightning ether. Deadend Crow uses, like, wait, what? He absorbs energy, remember? I have to do this to locate his core. I can see the flow of his ether. Fire ether. What is this insect? Stop flitting around. You're annoying me. Trying to go in for the punch. As that's happening, you're using ice ether. That's not going to work so confidently. I see it. Noticing how Deadend Crow operates, firing around even further, seeing where the core is at. Oh, how I've waited for this day. For the moment I can finally destroy you. Connecting Etherlink, activating Ether Gear, Melt, which is very fitting given the title of the chapter. What? Here's his core. Part of his armor is fallen off. No, it's melting. Holy's Ether Gear. That's what it does. What be the charge on the cannon, is what Connor says. And then Hermit's like 100%. We're ready to fire. Holy, retreat. And as she says I'm on my way, these strings pop up and like just latch onto the armor maid, which is Holy. She's like, "What? Holy!" And she just gets absorbed like right in the Deadend Crow, which is I don't even know how to even consider that because even Laguna's like he absorbed her clean. Holy, respond! Holy, fire! Take me with him. And Connor looks like he was ready. He looked like, okay, we got this. And Herman puts her foot down and says, no. If Shiki were here, he would never allow it. And if you guys remember, based off chapter 200, we ended off that chapter going back to the whole 2,000 years later thing, which I thought was kind of interesting because I was like, yo, are we going to delve more into that? And it looks like that we are because towards the end of this chapter again, we go back to 20, I say 2,000 years, 20,000 years later. I've confirmed that man is alive. The woman is dead. What should we do? What else? We recover our findings. I've never seen a human before in my life. Why would a species that went extinct 20,000 years ago and like they were about to talk, but then the other person's like, our job is to find out. And this is where chapter 201 ends off. And it's a really interesting note because the panel ends off with now returning to base on the planet Eden. Now, I say that because the ship is called Eden Zero. So the fact that we're in 20,000 years later and it's planet Eden, there's a lot of implications for that. There really is. Now, I have seen a theory going around that what if Saintfire Nox is like actually future Rebecca? That's a possibility. You could say that. But Ziggy already flat out confirmed that no, Saintfire Nox is Rebecca's mother. And like he told Shiki that, hey, regretfully, your mother's not here, which there's a lot that could be said about that. There really is. But overall, when it comes to chapter 201, I'm gonna give it great plus. It's a great plus chapter of Eden Zero. The only nitpick I have with the chapter is that I wish we got more on Shiki. I wish we got something on Shiki and Ziggy. I really did. Because I was like, you end off 200 on such a big point. And I mean, it's cool to see the stuff going on with the Eden Zero crew and Deadend Crow. I think that's really, really nice. And then also getting a little bit more into the 20,000 years later thing. Even though it's not that much, the fact that they said returning to base on the planet Eden. I mean, again, there's a lot of ways and interpretations that you could go with that. There really, really is. Um, Again, I kind of have to wonder what it all entails for the story and moving forward. Because, I mean, if you remember what Zhao Mei said, it says time doesn't really matter that much in the story. I would like to incline to say that at some point it does kind of matter because the fact that we're jumping into these 20,000 year part of the story, which was established all the way back in chapter 4, is, still pretty crazy, if I'm being honest. But, you know, that said, let us go ahead and jump right into chapter 202 because, oh my god, chapter 202. First of all, chapter title's a big tease. And I say that because it's titled the chapter title is Unmasked. And I was like, Unmasked? With what we got in this chapter? I'm like, hold up. We really titling this Unmasked? Where, I mean, it's not like it didn't happen, but you'd think we would have gotten a little bit more stuff. And that's me being a little salty, I'll admit. But let me just dive right into the chapter just for you guys to get an idea. So, the battle still takes place between Deadend Crow and the Eden Zero ship. Clean's like, the steel sorcerer's signal. I've lost it. We've also lost contact with Holy. Well, what do we do? What Jin says. Connor says, evade. Hermit. Releasing charge on Starbringer. Switching to evasive maneuvers. As it's happening, Deadend Crow's like, you won't get away. Laguna. Whoa, what the? I'm picking up a spike in ether values. No, he's overdriving, but at that size? Which, okay, this was pretty sick to see. I'm not gonna lie. We've seen overdrive before. The showcase from Shiki, showcase from Rebecca to Wise to more. We've seen it. Oh, and we've also seen it from Hermit and Ivory too. But this guy though, I mean, just look at the size. The size of this guy. I mean, like, his size was already massive as it was, but I know it. I can't say it looks like super intimidating, but it does look kind of cool. I'll admit. Going in for the punch, and Connor's like, "Not possible. How be he so fast?" All Hanos brace for impact. You see, sister. I said all Hanos. All hands brace for impact. I said all Hanos. That's amusing. Anyway, Hermit. Open shields to 100%. That's happening. Deadend Crow. His punch didn't exactly go through. Um, Even with that, they still felt the damage from his shockwave. From Hermit to Connor to Moscow to Couchpo to why am I why am I blanking on her name right now? Labilia, there we go. I was like, this girl has appeared in the story for more than a few occasions, and I'm already blanking on her name. Labilia, yeah, Labilia's here too. The ship is still kind of getting away, but they can feel the impact and everything. As that's happening, then we cut back to Shiki and Ziggy. OMG. Okay. The confrontation between the two of them. And I gotta say, what a fight this has been turning out. This so far has been a really, really engaging battle. I will say that for sure. It's been a really super engaging battle to see between the two of them. That's happening. Shiki uses, gravity ether to block off the attack. Very similarly, they cancel each other out. But Ziggy, of course, uses his dimension hopping ability that he got from Hero. Poseidon attacks him, and which kind of catches Shiki off guard. Attack goes through. Not only does the attack go through, he not only does the attack go through, he crashes into the building. And that's when Ziggy steps in. But right when Ziggy's about to go on with the frontal assault and just lay something on Shiki, Shiki does an Uno reverse, says, no, 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 no. This is not going how you want it to go, Gramps. I'm going to do this my way. Punches him in the face. And this was interesting, okay? Because not only does he punch him in overdrive form, by the way, but you see Ziggy's mask starting to come apart, hence the title of the chapter, Unmasked. And then we see something over here. Now, a lot of people, and again, I've seen a lot of people run with the idea that, oh, Ziggy is an alternate Shiki gone rogue. Hence Rebecca's nightmare scene, all the way back in Volume 9. Yeah, it's back in Volume 9, Chapter 69, if I remember correctly. But I'll say this: it definitely does look pretty similar now. Like we're seeing some very striking similarities between Ziggy's, you know, facial features and Shiki. We see that. So, I mean, this is looking more and more plausible now. I mean, it's not even more and more plausible. I think you can't get more obvious than this that okay, this is probably an alternate Shiki. That's a thing. And I say that because look back to Wise. You have older Wise, and then you have the Wise we have right now. It's like one of those situations where you have this Shiki, and then we have our MC, the Shiki we've been following up until this point. But my thing is, there's something there. If this is in fact alternative Shiki, which I'm starting again, I've been believing on that for a while now. Given that though, there's something we're gonna get. I have no doubt in my mind about that. We're gonna get something with this whole scene in the future. Because keep in mind about this, and I mentioned it in last week's not last week, but the week before. I mentioned it when it came to the stream of 196 to 200. That if we go back to the volumes, and this is a key thing by the way. So volume 21, actually let's go back to this. So the time skip, even before that too, but volume 20 ends off with 176, right? Volume 21 ends off with 185. Volume 22, by my calculations, should end off with 194. And with that said, chapter 203 will be the end of this current volume, volume 23. And from what I've gathered from people, it's that this chapter, 203, which won't drop until um oh my god. Yeah, so chapter 203 I hear isn't coming out next week, which is gonna be kind of a big deal because I know there's a festival going on in Japan. Normally when you have something like that going on, everyone's on break. So we're just kind of left on this because after this point, like Shiki just is like, what? Like, huh? Like, I don't get it because Hero immediately cuts over. So we don't get anything further from this. From just this like tease of a face. We don't get anything else besides that. So it's like really, Hero, you're gonna leave us off on this note where yo, the mask is breaking, but we cut over to something else. Like, you know what this actually reminds me of? This so screams Toby. Like, do y'all remember when Naruto chapter 599 came out and the mask broke? Was 599 or 600? I want to say it was 599. Let me double check. Hold on. I'm because I'm getting those exact same flashbacks. I'm gonna look this up now because it's the first thing that popped into my mind, and I was like, "This is so giving me flashbacks to that." But let's actually go back and look. I want to say it was 599, but it could be 598 too. Let's go to 598 for just one quick second. 598 is right here. So 598's right here. Let's see here. Does this end off where I think it ends off? Yeah, okay, so 598 actually ends off similarly of Naruto. If you go back to chapter 598, Naruto pulling out the Rasengan, the mask breaks, and you're just kind of left in limbo. The difference here is that instead of ending it off right here, we cut back straight over to Holy, which I'm totally fine with. But yeah, like I said, this whole thing just reminded me of that. And the thing is, see, this is something I'll at least commend Hero versus what Kishi did. And that's that when it came to the following chapter of Naruto, chapter 599, that one was titled Obito Uchiha, which was kind of like, okay, I guess we know now who Toby is. In this case, how do I even say this? Hero just titles chapter 203 Ziggy, which I think is pretty fitting. But, you know, I just thought I'd take a little trip down memory lane because that's exactly what this whole panel reminded me of. Shiki says, what? Cut over to Holy, who's like, with inside, pun intended, by the way, a Deadend Crow. Huh? I've lost contact with Eden Zero. Am I inside Crow? Maybe getting absorbed into him wasn't so bad after all. So now I can destroy him from the inside. She said that super confidently, but she realizes, wait, I can't use my ether gear. What's going on? It's an ether jammer. Hello, little missy. And we see Deadend Crow. Not exactly Deadend Crow, but a projection, if you will. She's like, Deadend Crow? How is that your real body? Don't be stupid. Of course not. Let's just say you're seeing a physical manifestation of my personality. So don't go getting your hopes up that you can take down the giant by defeating me. And here's the thing, we know for a while now that Holy had this whole vendetta against Deadend Crow. She was specifically targeting him. We never knew why, but there was something about Deadend Crow that really got to her attention. And it's interesting that we find out what it is because we see her scream, you see the sweat rolling down her face. She's going off for the charge. Crow, hey, did you not just hear what I just said? Besides, you can't use your ether gear. So now you're just a helpless little girl. And this is actually one of the first times we've seen Holy with this kind of expression on her face. Like that struggle that she has. Wait, that face. He looks over, snaps her arm, because you can see the sound effects going on. She screams, haven't I seen you before? Holy catches her breath. And this is where we get a pretty big revelation for Holy. You slaughtered all those people on Utmost that day. One of them was my sister. Hmm. Maybe I still have data on that. Oh, those sisters. You killed Sarah. But I let you live, didn't I? And okay, here's the thing. Eden Zero is at some pretty dark shit. That much is guaranteed. We've seen a lot of dark shit when it comes to Eden Zero. Okay, like the earliest we could track this all the way back down to was Guild. Guild's had some pretty messed up shit, but ever since Guild's, like it's been like elevating. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's like just one thing after the other, and people are still gonna ask me, "Hey, you think we're in rave territory?" We're itching there. I'll say that right now. We're definitely itching there because, oh my god, what we find out in this chapter, and it's a pretty great. Okay, granted, we didn't see a flashback panel on that, but I can only imagine that would have just elevated things to like a whole different degree. It would have like went all the way up, and I say that because what Deadend Crow states, but I let you live, didn't I? Stripped naked and hung up in the square for everyone to see. That was one of my best works. Now, here's the thing, imagine we get this, but imagine like we actually saw a brief flashback panel. That would have been like, now, that said, I could still see Hero doing that because reading that the first time, I was like, yo, that's a pretty big revelation. Part of me was still kind of like, maybe it would have been cool to get a little bit of an allusion to that, but I was talking to a couple people about this, and they said, well, we did get that Holy was after a Dead End Crow for some particular agenda. We just didn't know what it was. And now we kind of get it. So it's not that it came out of left field and it makes sense. It just would have been kind of cool to see that aspect kind of like be briefly touched on. And maybe it was, but who knows? But the fact that he's boasting about this too is still pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie. And again, Holy's going in for the attack. Dead End Crow grabs her by the throat. She's struggling. You want me to do it again? No, better not. Last time all the people complained about the smell of your dung. And poor Holy's like breaking down. Like she is like breaking down in tears and everything. No one survives 2 fights with me. As that's happening, we see a bit of a severed arm about to be chopped off, and Laguna's there, and Jin. I say she will. We'll make sure of it. We take care of our ship's guests, and that's the end of the chapter. Okay, so I'm a little salty. We didn't get a little bit further down into what exactly we got with Ziggy's mask breaking off. But again, that's also me kind of reminiscing back to chapter 599, 598 with Naruto when Toby's mask broke off. So it's like a similar feeling, if you will. But that's a good thing because it gets me excited for what we're gonna see with that. And the other big thing we got story wise is why I'm being redundant at this point. Seeing why Holy was so gun ho about going after Deadend Crow. And it's a big one. I'll say that it's definitely a big one. What I think we're gonna get in chapter 203. Oh, here's the thing. Because from what I looked up on the wiki, chapter 203 is titled Ziggy, which I already stated before. But we're not getting the chapter until not this upcoming Tuesday, next Tuesday. So we're on a week break, and I'm totally fine with that because given the life of a mangaka, it's a lot to handle. But then again, we're talking about Hero, and Hero is he's a machine. I'm gonna say that right now. That man is a machine because keep in mind the man's working on this. He's helping out with 100-Year Quest. Um, man's even got his own YouTube channel too. The fact that he has all that time at his age, it's extraordinary. And like I said, I've been following Hero ever since the Rave Master days. So it, I just gotta commend him. I really, really do. So, like I said, this chapter 201 I gave a great plus. This chapter, I'm gonna go ahead and give it an amazing. It's an amazing chapter because it's leaving us wanting more. And if you have a chapter doing that for your story, then I think you're doing a really good job. And Hero's always been notorious for that. Because again, going all the way back to Rave, how he's handled those chapters, how he's handled big key elements like this, even with like Fairy Tale, when it came to Zeref, when it came to Jalal, all those things. I think Heroes handle those revelations pretty well. Even like the stuff with Natsu too. It's a big deal. So amazing chapter to great plus. Um Overall rating to that, I'll go ahead and say it's like great plus to an amazing. Overall for both chapters, since we're both almost on the same playing field. But yeah, like I said, because 203 is going to be the last chapter of volume 23, it's gonna be a pretty big deal. Okay? Because keep in mind, with volume 22, we end off with Hermit going into overdrive. That was like the last uh chapter we got for volume 22. So 203, the fact that we're titling it Ziggy, we're gonna get something. I do see us still having a little bit of a continuation of Holy's battle against Deadend Crow, but the fact that we're titling it Ziggy means we're gonna like go further into the identity. Actually, see, okay, yes, is the Ziggy is Shiki theory true? And also just kind of get his side of the story because again, Ziggy's just been a blank mystery for the longest time ever since he got back. So with that said, you guys, that's pretty much all I got to say when it comes to these two chapters of Eden Zero. I might do another live stream discussion next week, primarily talking about what I could think will happen in chapter 203, kind of like, let's say, as like a little buffer stream, uh, for us to look forward to the next chapter. And that should actually be kind of fun because I haven't done one of those in forever. But yeah, like I said, the identity of Ziggy, we're gonna find that out in 2 weeks' time. And I do think we're gonna get a little bit more into Holy. And given that, I will say this, maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility we could see her joining the crew. There's a possibility. But I want to delve a little more into that next week. For the anticipation stream for 203. And there's actually a few things I've been meaning to tackle too with the story of Eden Zero. But like I said, at this point, I'm just rambling on, you guys. Overall, for both chapters, it's a great plus to an amazing. Let me know what you guys thoughts were on the chapter. What was your favorite part about it? And aside from the guys, that's pretty much it. I'm Lucky7. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Eden Zero, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.